Welcome to another episode of Life and Times with Tubb City. As the host, I'm always grateful for the incredible guests we've had on the show who left a lasting impression on my life. So today I want to talk about the company that's been making a difference in countless lives all across America. Penn Waste. PIN stands for Power in Numbers. Penn Waste is revolutionizing the way HOAs manage their waste and recycling services. They've developed the Penn app, which empowers HOAs to negotiate group deals for services like pest control, bulk item removal, trash can cleaning, and most importantly, trash and recycling. Think of Penn Waste as the perfect blend of Groupon and Nextdoor, designed exclusively for HOAs. Their platform allows communities to leverage their size and secure the best deals with vendors. I'm all about bringing value to your life, and that's why we partnered with Penn Waste. Ready to lower your waste bill and make a positive impact? Then just visit www.pennwaste.com and mention that you heard about them from the Life and Times with Tubb City podcast. Their services are available nationwide, so everyone can join the Penn Waste movement. Save money, go green, and make a difference with Penn Waste today.
So, it gave me an opportunity to get back in sports. Mm-hmm. And I knew that I felt like at that point in time, I needed some type of structure. So I was working at the gym and I was coaching football.
Okay.
So that's kind of how I got back in it.
So that was your moment.
That was that moment.
I had a moment when I went to the spring in West Georgia. I walked on, went through spring ball, and I was either starting or second string as a walk-on.
Okay.
Get home, go see my mom in Louisiana. She was living in Shreveport, Motown by then. And I get a call, you're ineligible.
Sounds familiar.
We need $300. To me, that sounded like $3,000.
Right.
So I was like, I'm not asking my mom for $300. Like, I'm just not going to play.
Right.
So I get a job for the summer, and I'm washing dishes at a buffet place. Hometown buffet places like that.
Yep.
So I'm washing dishes, and I remember it was this lady with gold teeth. Me and her was back there. And she was like, yeah, I've been doing this for 7 years.
I bet you was like,
I said,
I bet you was like,
it was mashed potatoes on the plate. Spraying it. I was like, what? I said 7 years. She was like, yeah, but she was saying it like proud.
Right.
And I was like, so this is what you do? Because I'm here for the summer. I'm thinking like,
right.
She's like, no, yeah, this. I was like, oh no, I'm going back to school.
Yeah.
And that was my moment.
Was
like,
awakening.
I gotta I'm gonna be washing dishes with this lady. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's good for your sister to put that in you. To have that
man, definitely
moment.
Man.
So,
definitely.
So you had your awakening. You go to Coral Reef. You're coaching.
Yeah.
And
I mean, at that point, man, like, I'm in the coaching arena. I'm in the coaching circle. Shout out to my man Frank Ponce, gave me an opportunity. Frank Ponce ended up leaving Coral Reef and going to Miami High.
I remember that.
Okay.
We've met. I know him, but when you say that name, it's a light bulb.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He's a legend. He was instrumental in my growth in terms of learning the sport from the coach's eyes.
This is what I know of him, and I don't know him, but he's a grinder and a recruiter, and he can talk. He can get them.
He's a salesman.
Yeah, that's what I. Okay.
Yeah. So that's him and I used to sit down. We used to be in the weight room, and we used to have these conversations, man. And I had a sense of loyalty to him just because he gave me an opportunity, but also because of what I was able to learn from him.
Yeah.
So when he went to Miami High, we had a group of kids at Coral Reef who I was able to really reach.
Gotcha.
Okay. And I think that Coach Ponce, when he was there, his style of coaching, hard work. He was a teacher. He was a disciplinarian. But he also made the guys, he would build the guys up, and he would break the guys down, but then build them up. He made them into those guys that, hey, in the fourth quarter, we got to go to war. Yeah. We're gonna be all right. So I want to say it was that spring, he gets released, he ends up going to Miami High. I had a decision to make in terms of, do I go or do I stay? I had developed all of these relationships, and the parents loved me, and they were like, yo, please don't go, da-da-da-da. The principal comes to me, and she's like, hey, we really need you in terms of making this transition. And I end up staying. And I felt like I had a purpose. Yeah. There was a reason that I needed to stay in that position. So that year going into, I want to say, 2005, I think somewhere around that, we had a spring like no other in terms of college recruiters, college head coaches. But see, I kind of like see big picture things. Okay. So before Coach Pons left, the year prior, we had two players. One was named Julian Reams, who was a running back at FIU. Okay, and another one was Lance Burns, who ended up going to another, I guess you could say, a Division II school. But what I had started doing was I would be that guy in the back room cutting up the film to send out to the schools. And so I made it like my job, like my priority to get this stuff out.
You made yourself a lane.
I made a lane. Okay. And so he used to give me a hard time because he used to be like, I don't know what you're cutting up all this shit for. He said, if they want them, they're going to come get them.
Yeah.
Okay. But I saw it a different way.
Yeah.
I saw, you know what, if you're able to get two out, then you'll have an opportunity to have more schools come in for this next group of guys.
Yeah.
And what that would do is put an eye on the program.
In Coral Reef back then, I don't know how it's doing now. That was where the smart kids went.
That was where the smart kids went. So I remember, even playing some, coaching some games where we were playing against South Ridge, Killian, South Dade, because that's what the district that we were in. They were like, yo, it's Coral Reef. This is where the smart kids go.
Yeah.
Okay. But we did have a group of guys there. It was kind of like your sunset.
Yeah.
But what Ponce had done in terms of building those guys' confidence and turning them into men, he was able to get something else out of them. And what I was able to do was I was just able to shine a light on the program from a different lane.
Yeah.
Okay, so I took initiative in terms of getting the tapes out, getting the tapes cut. I was that guy that, hey, we're gonna take this 15-passenger van and we're gonna go to Florida. We're gonna go to Florida State.
So you really?
Oh yeah, I was grinding, bro.
Yeah.
I was grinding, and I didn't get paid for it. But
that's what I was about to say. People don't understand that you don't get paid for that. It's not like the school's giving you.
They didn't give you an extra stipend or anything like that. It was just, I think I was just self-motivated because I just felt like I could give somebody else an opportunity, potentially off of somebody else's opportunity.
Yeah.
To have an opportunity to go to school.
Yeah.
And that's what it was for me. So I hope you didn't get lost in that transition. But I was able to give... An
opportunity will bring another opportunity.
There you go.
But it may not be in your face. You got to just think about the future. And parents and coaches and kids don't see it that way.
Correct.
But that's, you try to corral them to...
Bro, that was I can say I was satisfied with just having the opportunity to put guys in a position. That was my purpose.
Yeah.
And it's funny, while all of this was going on, the guy who was my mentor at the time in terms of the agent business, he was making frequent visits to Coral Reef because he was dating one of the teachers at the school. So one day I'm at practice, black dude pull up in the Benz. I'm like, who's this motherfucker? Curly hair, light-skinned dude. And he brought, I don't know if you remember the receiver from USC, Mike Williams. Dog?
Yes.
Okay, so he brought him to the school one day.
Wow.
And so he was talking to the teacher's class. Mm-hmm. And I said, yo, like this is like, that's live. Like, what does he do? And they were like, yo, he's an agent. Da, 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 da. And I found out at that time that he was my man's agent, John Vilma.
Okay.
So that's how the two worlds kind of like came together.
Yeah.
So, Ponce leaves, I stay. I got 11 kids that following year from our program that end up signing Division I. Okay, which is one unheard of. Yeah, you heard it. You heard it. Miami, NC State, Florida, Central Michigan, Western Michigan.
Out of Coral
Reef. And they couldn't believe it. So it was like, you created this lane.
Yeah.
But I remember my boy, I don't know if you know CJ Singleton. He used to be a wrestling coach, heavy set dude, coach offensive line, older guy. He's older than us. But one day I was walking through the hall because I think I had Larry Coker, I had Urban Meyer, I had Bobby Bowden and Kevin Steele. I had all of these guys coming in one after another on the same day.
Yeah.
Okay. And people couldn't believe it. Like, yo, Larry Coker and Urban Meyer are here. And Urban Meyer had just gotten a job at Florida. He was at Utah. Okay. So all of these coaches are coming in and people couldn't believe it. They were shell shocked because this is Coral Reef. This is where the smart kids go.
Yeah.
Okay. But, you know, like I told you, the satisfaction came from just seeing those guys on signing day. They all got somewhere to go. Yeah. All of their parents were happy, and they also had an opportunity to get a college degree.
So, and I've been through this dilemma because I was at JUCO, and the best thing for me was coaching defense. I was an offensive player in college. I coached defense, but then also being at the JUCO level because you have the high school,
right,
and then you have the universities,
right.
So I was a recruiting coordinator, and I would deal with everybody.
Yep.
So there's a certain point when you have to turn your loving heart into, I got to help myself.
Correct.
When did that happen?
I had a real moment, and I brought up the CJ Singleton guy because I think one day I was walking through the hall, and he was like, "Hey man," he's like, "You kind of like an agent." He said, "You kind of like, you know, that middleman in terms of dealing with the universities and dealing with the high school representing the player." And it didn't really hit me until like years later, where I was being offered some college positions as a coach.
Really?
Yeah, because here's the thing: a lot of these like college coaches is really about who you know. It's not really based on your knowledge of the game.
Let me tell you something.
You know what I'm saying? You know firsthand.
Yeah, they don't know.
They're
faking people out.
Correct. But a lot of them do have the ability to be able to recruit.
Yeah.
And if you can recruit and bring talent, then you can have value.
That's what my uncle said. If you can recruit, you can keep a job.
You can keep a job.
Yeah.
So like even with your uncle, like I used to go over to University of Miami all the time. Me and CJ used to sit down all the time.
Yeah.
And Tim Walton and Randy Shannon and all of those guys. Yeah. Come on in, Ron. Mario Cristobal, all of these guys.
Yeah.
So, for me, I got offered a position up at Florida State as a grad assistant. Okay. And at the time, as a grad assistant, you needed to have your paperwork in order.
Yeah.
Okay. But at that time, my focus wasn't on school. It was on helping these other kids get positioned to go to school. So I was kind of like behind the 8 ball because now I needed to refocus yourself. You want to do A, you want to do B, and you want to do C. But in order to do those other 2 things, you got to focus on A, which is getting your degree.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I did was I ended up going back to school. I put all of my attention on that. You're coaching, but you're going to class.
So you were still coaching, but
I did both. I did both. And then I want to say years later, as I'm going through school, and I'm at FIU, I have another encounter with the agent who I told you I met years back.
Yeah.
So I had a couple kids that I had coached. They were getting ready to go from Division I to the NFL.
Okay.
One in particular was Patrick Robinson. Okay. Patrick Robinson was a soft-spoken guy. Didn't really say a whole lot.
Can you explain who he is to people who don't?
So Patrick Robinson was a Super Bowl champion with the Philadelphia Eagles. He was a first-round draft pick out of Florida State. Ended up getting drafted to the Saints. Played 11 years in the NFL.
He played 11 years?
He played 11 years. And shout out to my man, Pat. Love him to death. Pat was always a soft-spoken guy. He was he needed somebody to be his liaison.
Yeah.
Per se.
He trusted you.
And he trusted me.
Gotcha.
So as he went through the process, he was like, "Coach, I don't really know a whole lot about this agent stuff. Can you go through a few of these meetings with me?" So that one guy who I had met at Coral Reef, he was interested in signing him. Okay. But then I also had guys like Drew Rosenhaus and Pat Dye and Jimmy Sexton and all these other guys that wanted to sign him too. So I said, wait a minute. Let me just go through the process with him and kind of learn a little bit more about the business.
Yeah.
So when I sat down with Drew Rosenhaus and I heard his pitch and this, that, and the other, and what he would be able to do for him and this, that, and the other, I said to myself, I walked out of that meeting, I remember, where we met at and all of that stuff. He was just like, man, this dude is corny. He was like, he's a corny dude, Cole. I don't know what you think. He's a corny dude. I said, yeah. I said, but, I understand he's running a business.
Yeah.
Okay. He has to do a presentation. He has to present to you to let you know that he knows what he's doing. He's been in this arena for a very long time. But I also felt like nobody could have the type of relationship that I would have with this young man, where he trusts me to help him guide through this process, and also in terms of making his college decisions and all of those different things. So for me, it was that moment right there that I decided I don't even want to say I'm gonna leverage, but I was gonna position myself with this one particular player.
You gotta take the opportunity.
To take the opportunity. So I ended up bringing him to my guy who ended up being my mentor, and him and I talked about it, and he said, I think we actually met at a restaurant, and he was like, so you trying to make short-term money, or are you trying to have longevity? That was the question that he asked me. And I thought about it for a second. I said, it's the longevity for me. So 14 years later, where we sit, it's been the longevity for me. You know what I'm saying? So that was that turning point for me, where that was that moment where I felt like I'm going full throttle. So I go back to, I finish school, I jump into, they give me an opportunity to come into the company, and I start building my brand from there.
Which is the same company you met Dre.
Which is the same company I met Dre.
I
remember walking into the office and seeing Dre sit at the cubicle. I said, hey, and we just clicked, man.
Yeah.
We just clicked, bro.
So, to be clear, you're coaching in high school, you go back to school, you get on with a company, and your first shot is a first-round draft pick.
So here's what's crazy, B. So like I told you, it was Patrick Robinson who I was helping through the process.
Yeah.
He ended up not wanting to sign with the guy who was my mentor.
Oh, word?
He just felt like there wasn't that synergy there. So here's what's crazy. They could have just said, hey, you know what? Well, Ron, you didn't deliver on what we thought you were going to deliver on, so we're going to keep it moving.
Yeah.
But Ron's a pretty smart dude. So my man Cedric Irvin, shout out to Cedric Irvin.
Yeah. Michigan State.
Okay. Me and Ced go back. He was actually coaching up. He was a GA up at Alabama. Okay. And I had a kid who was basically going on like a summer tour, visiting different programs. And we stopped through Alabama. So I sat down with Nick Saban, did all of that stuff, this, that, and the other. And
you said it so lightly.
Yeah, it's light. It's light. It's light. But no, Nick Saban, he put a great program together. But Cedric and I were sitting in the weight room, and we just talking, just catching up, cracking jokes and stuff. And this one guy walks into the weight room, and he's like, "Yo, I know you're doing your agent thing now. Like, you need to holler at him."
Yeah.
So I was like, "Well, who was that?" He was like, "Man, that's Kareem Jackson." So I was like, "Oh yeah." I was like, "He good?" I was like, "Bro," he's like, "Yo, he live." Like, he a junior. He said, "But he's live." So I said, "Okay, I'm gonna chop it up with him." So he was like, "Hey, 3." We used to call him 3.
Yeah.
He's like, "Hey, 3, come here real quick." So we chopping it up. We instantly catch a vibe. And so he's like, "Yeah, man, we getting ready to go grab something to eat." We go grab something to eat, man. We chopping it up. And, I want to say at that moment, I knew I had him.
Why?
Without him verbally saying like, "Yo, I'm rocking with you." I knew I had him because the synergy was right. And I've been in some situations with players and meeting with, different guys and clients and all that stuff. And you can just tell when the synergy is not right. Yeah. That one I could tell was right.
Yeah.
So long story short, I didn't. My guy Patrick Robinson ended up signing with somebody else, but I was able to bring Kareem Jackson to the table. Okay. He actually went before Pat. He went top 20. I think my man Pat went 31, 29, which it wasn't too far off. But truth be told, I probably could have had both of those guys in the first round that year, and which is crazy. I ended up signing Pat on the second contract.
What?
So I got the second deal, and I had him all the way up until he retired. So God working mysterious ways, man.
Man, always we gotta my boy Mike, he says just keep your face clean. If you keep your face clean with people, man, things will come. Cause like when I was recruiting at JUCO, like the best players that I got wasn't because I was a great recruiter.
Yep.
It was because I was good to somebody else and they referred me.
It's people skills, it's accountability.
Yeah.
It's just, I'm not gonna say sometimes you get lucky, but I think that when you're dealing with people and you treat people the right way, you'll have longevity. People don't want to work with you. People want you to be involved in their situations. And I think for you always been a good dude. People always accept you. Yeah. So it's easy for you to go in, have a conversation, or if you say, hey, I want you to come do X, Y, and Z. Yeah. I'm right there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
because I did call you yesterday? Yeah.
Listen, and what did I tell you? I said, hey, I'll be there.
Because I'll text you, he was like, cool. I was like, damn, that was too fast. Is he serious?
Bro, and that's the thing. And I always tell people, man, like you said, man, you try to do your best to keep your face clean.
Yeah, man.
People want to get involved with what you're doing.
That's kind of how I got Alvin.
Okay. AK.
So I'm not gonna say it the complete way, but it was a referral because Tyler Williams.
Yep.
He was a player. He went to Norcross with Alvin, and Tyler comes Tyler had offers, gotten grades, went to West Georgia, messed up, came to Hutch. He was playing he was playing running back.
Running back. Mm-hmm.
And they was about to kick him off the team. It was like, oh, he sucks, whatever. I was like, and the kid kept saying, hey, man, just let me just try me at DB.
Okay.
So I try him at DB. We get a relationship. Come to find out, he knows Alvin.
Okay.
When it's time for the Alvin situation, if we kick him off the team,
he won't fool with you. You never would have got him. Never would have got him.
There's no referral for the other process of getting Alvin Kamara, who
dog.
But the stuff he did in JUCO, people don't understand what he did in junior college football.
I didn't even know he went JUCO. I knew he went to Bama.
Yeah.
I knew he went to Tennessee, but I didn't know he had to stop.
Okay, I know this is.
I know the story now. But
yeah, he comes to JUCO. He doesn't play the last 3 games. Mm-hmm. He only played 9 games. He only played 3 full games. And he was the player of the year.
That's crazy. I heard you. He played 9 games. He only played 3 full games. Didn't play the last 3 games of the season.
Yeah, and he was
player of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of those, like those guys you call special.
The highlight you see, I made it because he didn't. I was like, dog, where's your hot? He was like, I don't need that. I'm good.
Yeah.
Like literally came there when he left Hutch. He left with a backpack. He left everything.
Say, I'm out.
He said, I'm out. I'm going on a business trip.
So I'm going on a business trip.
Bro,
I'm out.
Dude, bro. He's
special, bro.
Yeah, man.
Special.
So the for the people, you become an agent. Mm-hmm. So it's like a trickle down. Now that I think about it, like you become an agent, your sister whips you in the shape.
Yep.
Become an agent, and then now your brother's an agent.
So my brother, he's like I told you, he's one of those guys. He's a low key funny guy, or thinks he's funny. But he can also.
Y'all need a show.
Listen, I've been approached a couple times, like, hey, you guys should do something together.
Y'all need because it's not. y'all are funny, but him, and DeAndre is something like
it's
like
a
a living color.
It's a synergy, bro. I'm telling you, it's a synergy, man. Like we get together, dude, and Dre. This man's funny, bro. He always taking pictures of you and stuff. You don't know he's taking pictures. And
when we went to the combine, I was like, I felt like a little kid because I felt like it was in a comedy show because y'all are like.
There was a synergy, man, and I think that's why we work well together now, and I think we're going to have longevity in terms of agency one because you're dealing with some guys that can be themselves, but also can take care of business.
That's crazy, and it's like I'm a huge fan of. You remember Voltron?
Yeah,
everybody unites. You got Stan, you got you, DeAndre, Ashton, Ira,
the whole crew,
but everybody has their thing,
right?
And everybody knows that person's thing is that thing, and you call them, hey, man, I need you for this. I need you. And it's like, it's so cool to see everybody come together and just figure it out.
Listen, bro. For a long time, like even when I left, the company that I was working with, because it was so much drama. It was so much money being spent. And there was just so much that you had to deal with just in terms of operations.
Yeah.
And so to come into this situation where now you're looked at as the veteran agent, the guy who's done contracts, the guy who's had first round picks, all of that good stuff, you're looked at as kind of like a mentor in that mentor role. I don't really operate that way in terms of delegating a lot, but I think that I allow everybody to be themselves.
Yeah.
And you allow people to have a platform where they can go out and recruit and also service, and they feel like, hey, I got a home. Yeah. So you're not doing it by yourself.
And for the people, like, you got the exclusive kicks on, but you're an NFL agent. Yeah. You've been doing this for 14 years. Like, you're not walking around with a pair of Dockers on every day. Nah. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's good to see that. And I know you have suits, but what I'm saying is, like, you can be yourself in this profession and be successful and have longevity, as you say.
Definitely. I think that there's a time and a place for it.
Yeah.
There's a time, where you're going into certain meetings and you're meeting with certain people that you have to have a certain appearance. But I'm going to be as authentic as I possibly can. Yeah. I feel like this is what's gotten me to the point that I'm at now. And for me, when you see me in a tracksuit, and hey, I might throw on some Ferragamos and all that other stuff too. But I much rather be in what I'm in right now because I can be myself.
Okay, so who has the best shoe game? You, DeAndre, or Ira?
I think Dre has it. Well, actually, because Ira's got an exclusive collection that you probably wouldn't even know about because he don't really wear a lot of his stuff. And I didn't even know this until I want to say 2 years ago when he started bringing out different things. Yeah. I'm like, bro, where you get all these shoes from?
Yeah.
Like, and he was like, I collect them. Like when the drops come, I'll always get them.
It's definitely a shoe war in the office.
Yeah, but Dre has some fire too now. Yeah. Dre's got some fire. So I want to say it's probably between those two guys.
Dre and Ira?
Yeah, they definitely got it. They give me a hard time because they be like, bro, you got all the cash. But I'm like, listen, first of all, stop don't be in my pockets like that, B. I'm laid back, dude. Like, I like cars. That's
yes, you do.
I like cars. Cars are my thing.
I gotta show you my Impala.
Oh, hey, listen. I always wanted an Impala. Bro. What you got a 4-door Impala?
I got a 96.
Come on.
On 22s.
Come on, bro. That was back in the day when we were doing the shows at Hot Wheels.
I'm kind of hurt right now because it's at my boy's house. It's not in a garage, but yeah, I gotta find a garage for it.
Hey, man. Let me know.
Can you tell me a moment, a story? No names.
Okay.
About like some funny business with a different agent, a crazy story with a player, but just to give people something that you went through, but you don't
Okay.
necessarily have to give no names.
Okay. Well, I got a bunch of those because when you know how they say more money, more problems.
Yeah.
I strongly believe in that statement.
Before you said, I'm not gonna say the amount.
Okay.
When you told me you had to give somebody something and the amount that you told me, in my head, I'm like, if you have that to give, what do you have left? Because if we go buy a box of, I like Southern Made donuts from Louisiana. If we go buy a box of Southern Made and I give you 5,
right,
I know I got some more left,
right,
and I'm cool. So if you giving this amount, you're doing all right.
Oh yeah, I'm doing well for myself.
So when you say more money, more problems, I know you got more money. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean I'm doing well for myself. I will say that, but I think that working with certain people, understanding your value, understanding that everybody has their season, and when I say everybody has their season, I mean when you're working with certain guys and they're hot at the moment and they have a run for, let's just say it's 10 or 15, 20 years maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. Eventually, they're going to start to slow down.
Yeah.
Okay. And I feel like for myself, working with some guys that I worked with in the past, I felt like they had their season, and now they looked at me as, well, back then they looked at me as the guy that could potentially keep it going.
Yeah.
Okay. And if you're keeping it going, the cash is still flowing. Okay. So, I had some situations, man, dealing with like some lawsuits and different things like that. And, a lot of that stuff was based on just guys not being in the position of, I guess you could say, being able to bring in new business. And when you can't bring in new business,
gotta find a way out.
You got to figure out a way out, or you got to figure out how to keep that cash flow going. So who's the cash cow?
Yeah.
So for a while, I was that cash cow that had, the first round picks. Yeah. I had the guys doing the second contracts and the third deals, and I found myself, fighting the fight.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, if I'm doing all of the work, servicing contracts, having conversations with teams, trying to put guys in positions where they're on the field, why should I owe you anything?
Yeah.
So it was one of those things where I just felt like I had to fight, and I ended up fighting, but I still had to give up something. So that's when I told you that amount that I had to give up. You were like, oh shit, like, yeah. But I figured, sat down with my man Stan. Shout out to Stan. Yeah. He's a very business-minded individual. Yeah. And in a short period of time, I've learned so much from him in terms of doing business, not just being an agent, but I'm talking about business. Because there's a difference. There's a businessman and there's agent.
Gotcha.
Okay? Because you can be both, but if you only learn how to be one without the other, you may not be as successful as you potentially can.
Yeah.
So when I started learning about investments and and other things outside of just being the agent, you start letting your money work for you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's instead of just keeping your money stashed and this, that, and the other. But I learned so much from dude in such a short period of time. I think I've learned more from him than I had from the other guys, even the guy who was my mentor. Yeah. Because it was just about getting players and keeping them. This was about putting yourself in having financial gain and allowing, you like those shoes, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I like shoes too, but I also like cars. Okay, but why should you spend X money on those shoes or X money on those cars? You should have some type of investment that's paying for both.
Yeah, yeah.
So once I started to realize, like, okay, where do I put this at? He educated me. And so I think that when you're dealing with players, you're not just doing their contracts. You're not just recruiting them. You're educating them the same way we get educated in terms of business. So if I can educate somebody, not just doing contracts and not just playing football, if we can put them in positions to win, ultimately you just helped them long past their career.
Yeah.
Most careers last 3 or 4 years. Some guys get lucky and get to 10. You got to think about it. By that time, they're 31, 32. They still got a long way to go.
Yeah.
So that's what it
In
was
life.
for me in life.
Okay.
Yeah.
So last question.
Okay.
You've Philip Dorsett, Patrick Robinson. You hit for Levante David 50 and then another 25. What most people be like, what else you want me to do? Like, are you entertained? You know, Gladiator. Like, what's next, or what is pushing you to? What's left?
I think there's a lot left. Building this company, giving guys that, or ladies that are coming out of college and aspire to be an agent, educating them on the process and what it takes.
Yeah.
But I feel like my satisfaction doesn't necessarily come from getting a contract done. It comes from, you know, seeing a guy that has put in all of this work, and depending on his situation, his upbringing, to see the look on their face. Let me just give you a prime example. Taquan Thornton.
Boom.
Okay, we sat in his house on draft night.
Yes.
Okay, eating pizza and wings and chips and drinks and all of those things, but going through that process with him where you had a lot of teams that didn't have him slotted to go where he went.
Yeah.
But to sit down in that first meeting that we had with him to tell him, hey, listen, if you follow this script, you're going to get drafted high.
Yeah.
Here's the script. Go to the combine, run fast, interview well, boom, boom, boom. They're going to go back to the tape. They watch your tape. They realize you're a dog, just like we know you're a dog.
Yeah.
Okay, and guess what? They realize that, yeah, he might not have been the strongest guy on the block. He might not have been the flashiest guy.
He plays, he makes plays.
He makes plays. And shout out to my man Taquan. You know, just to see the look on his face and his mom's face and his family, his boys' face, like, that's the satisfaction for me.
Yeah.
It ain't the contract.
Yeah.
It's knowing that you were instrumental in helping him get to where he got to, even if you only played a small role in his journey.
Yeah.
That's the satisfaction for me.
And that was dope because it was 4 or 5 of us there. 4 or 5
in the house that night.
Me, you.
Oh, me, you, Dre.
Ashton, Dre.
No, Ashton wasn't there. It was me, you, Dre.
Ashton, what?
Nah.
No, Ira.
Nah, they weren't there either. It was just the 3 of us.
I was on the phone with Ashton. That's why.
It was because I know they were pissed off. Yeah, they were pissed off. Like, y'all could have told us where y'all gonna be.
Yeah.
But that was our fault. But no, it was, you know, it was the 3 of us there, and just, you know, that feeling of I made it.
Yeah.
Like his facial expression.
Really
said,
made
oh,
it.
He really made it. But if you talk to him, like, getting drafted was cool. Okay, but my mama's still working.
For real.
That's his motivation. And so when we always text about 6:30, 6:45 in the morning.
Yeah.
I said, yeah, you sleeping in again. He said, nah, my mama's still working.
Yeah.
So to hear him say that, and then when the Patriots called me to say, hey, what motivates this kid? I said, his mama.
Mm-hmm.
His mama motivates him. That's what's going to get him going.
Yeah.
So that was a conversation those are the types of conversations that I have with the teams in terms of, Ron, how can we get this guy going early?
Yeah.
His mama is his motivation.
That's dope.
That's what it is for me, man. I love the hustle.
Yeah.
Like Miss says, I love the hustle. You know what I mean? I love the streets, you know, all that stuff. But for me, bro, it's giving people opportunity. It's knowing that I'm making a difference.
Yeah.
And I'm not money driven. That doesn't drive me. It's not like money is the motivation, all of that stuff. It's putting people in positions to be able to make money. Man,
it feels good when you believe it and then nobody believes it and then it works.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I set goals for myself, man. Ever since I was in my 20s, I set goals. I had some obstacles that I had to face, and, you know, I was able to, you know, just be in a position where I got an opportunity. I seized the moment.
Yeah.
And even though, you know, you get into these little situations here and there, it's about how you dig yourself out of it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what it was for me, bro.
That's dope, man.
Yes,
that's
sir.
dope.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you, man.
Hey, man. I'm here, bro. Anytime you need me, man. Oh, I got you.
Shout out to Robot.
Hey, Ro, man, listen. I know the last time we was on the court, I gave you the business. I ain't heard from you. It's been a couple years. It's been a couple years, but you know how to find me. You know how to find me. He gonna like that.
Appreciate you,
like
man.
That, for sure.
All right.